And we're live. So I'm doing an impromptu live because I just felt like it. COVID situation here. So we'll see how many people actually get the notification and show up. We shall soon find out. We shall soon find out. So if you're watching a replay, if I decided to keep this replay, there'll be a timestamp in the video. You can jump to it. And we'll just see what happens. It's kind of late here. It's 10 o'clock at night. So we'll see. I think it will be West Coast people. If people show, we'll soon find out. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on. Check the, all right, we got some people showing up. King Nick's here. All right, how you doing, man? Hope everything is well. Yo, guys, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me or not. I assume you can. We'll soon find out. Everything checks on my end. What's up? What's up? Hello. Teras, how you doing, man? Andrew, Nick, Stef. My Java professor is terrible. Any advice struggling university students? Yes, common story, unfortunately. I would start learning on your own, on the side. If you're in university and you want that piece of paper, you're just going to have to deal with that. Yeah, just learn on your own. Start writing code. Figure out what it is that the professor's curriculum consists of, meaning what parts of Java he wants to teach you, and to start learning it on your own. You know what I mean? Mic check. How you doing, Matthew? Yeah, let me know. I assume you guys can hear me. I can hear you. Lighting perfect as always. Cool, good. Yeah, so I was recording, this is the way life works. So I was recording some videos for what I'm calling my pro series of code courses. So I'm basically putting wrapper videos around my foundation courses, which are up to date. Everything's cool with that, but a little lizard wizard lesson here. What I get a lot of from people is they go, are your foundations courses? What else will I have to learn? And I have to explain, well, no, if you do the foundation course, you pretty much know everything. And you can just learn whatever you want on your own afterwards, in terms of code courses. And so I'm deciding, okay, forget that. So I'm releasing updates to all my courses, but I'm adding new material, a little bit new material, stuff that I cover on YouTube and elsewhere. And I'm rebranding. So I'm going to have HTML5 Pro, CSS3 Pro, JavaScript Pro with ES6, PHP Pro 8. Yeah, so off the top of my head, Python 3 Pro. Yeah, you know. And basically I'm recording a few extra videos to make it pro. Where I'm going to show job opportunities, map out, outline rather, some of the frameworks, like, you know, what are the JavaScript frameworks out there, and how is JavaScript used on the server versus the client, these type of things. Yeah, so I'm recording this, and of course I record a really good video, and of course my software messes up the encoding of the video and it looks like crap. It's like, that's what happens. All right, so we'll do a little Q&A. What's up from Los Angeles? Oh, wow. How are you doing from Egypt? You must be up late there. I can hear you. I can tell you're of Ukraine background because you can pronounce my name correctly. That's probably it, yes. A good friend of mine is Ukrainian. His name is Taras. So, yeah. Views on Flutter as it has an event on the 3rd of March. Actually, I got a really good Flutter piece that I'm going to cover in a live soon. So Flutter seems to be doing well. What's the difference between efficiency and scalability? Oh, okay. That's pretty simple. Efficient code is code that uses little or as little as possible CPU and RAM computer resources. That's related to scalability, I suppose. Scalability is how much volume or traffic a particular app can handle. I'm thinking about web apps or something. Typically, scalability is bound to efficiency in the code, but scalability has a lot to do with just broader architectural issues, exactly, as well. So they're somewhat related, but they're different. This time I'm here early. Hello from the Philippines. Hey, welcome to stream. Yeah. So again, I just decided to come on. I was tired of listening to podcasts. I figured I would do a little Q&A with you guys. Yeah, if you have any questions about coding, career, Lizard Wizard, I'm going to shamelessly promote some of my stuff, of course. So yeah, here's my store. We're adding new components. So if you haven't seen, Lizard Wizard course is getting really, really good reviews from people. So I'm pretty happy about that. So I am going to come out with Lizard Wizard 2s. That's my advanced psychology with lizard dating tips and gut feelings. And here are some of the chapters. Lizard emotions, lizard brain gone wild. This is all very advanced psych stuff. So anyway, if you have any questions about that as well, let me know. I will be covering that. What else we got here? What do you think using Deno over Node? I don't know. I haven't looked at Deno, so I don't have an opinion on that. I know that Deno is a competitor now. How do you get out from addiction to super stimuli? Ooh. I don't know what you mean by that. Can you define super stimuli for me? Any courses you recommend to learn DSA in depth? I know theory also can implement them, but it gets frustrating even doing some unknown questions on HackerRank and all. I do not have any suggestions. My apologies there with regards to that. Please share some marketing branding tips for programmers, like your videography skills. Respect from India. Well, marketing branding comes down to psychology. So you should refer to my Lizard Wizard course I just pointed out. The Lizard Wizard course is going to teach you how the brain works. And as a result, you become much better at branding and marketing because you got to understand how the brain is motivated, what it does, how it perceives reality, how it gathers information, how does the brain form opinions, et cetera, et cetera. You see some of the chapters here. It's 2 hours, but it's jam-packed. Other people would cover this in 14 hours. So yeah, that's if you want to get into marketing. In terms of branding tips, again, it comes down to understanding lizard brain. On top of that, basic principles, just you have good-looking graphics, good-looking video, good, well-written copy, and it's got to be targeted towards your audience, and the brand. If you were selling wedding dresses and wedding accoutrements and services, you would have the color scheme would be associated with weddings in the target community. So in the U.S., North America, it'd be white and pastel colors and greens and pinks and so forth. In other countries, it'd be something else. How do you get out of tutorial hell? You get out of tutorial hell by doing your fundamentals and then jumping into real projects as quickly as possible. That's how you get out of tutorial hell. You got to jump into real projects. You have to take that leap of faith, if you will. Do my courses, you learn all about that. Which front-end framework is most relevant in freelance market to learn first? Vue, Angular, or React? I would look at the local market. I think you would be more contract work because freelance work has a lot to do with working with small companies, and they wouldn't know typically one framework from another or what a framework is really. So I'm not sure whether the framework you choose would have an impact in terms of freelancing. So that said, I would look around for jobs. But if you're looking at contracting work, which is a slight variant of freelancing, then I imagine there's still more jobs with React, but just check the local job listings in that regard. So what's the difference between contracting and freelancing? When you're a contractor, you go work for a company. They usually pay you X amount per day, and you're part of a team probably, and you work there and you have to show up, and the contracts can last 3 months, 6 months, a year. So you're basically a temporary employee. Whereas a freelancer, you're much more as a company that has hired an outside service provider, and you control the game. You don't work there. You work at home or your office, and you control when you work and how you work, the deliverable dates, et cetera, et cetera. So it's more totally autonomous as a freelancer, whereas a contractor, you're basically an employee. It's temporary. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Hey, Stella. Hello, Stefan. Do you use the 80-20 rule all the time? Pareto principle. It's very accurate, by the way. Years and years ago, when I was in my previous life in business, I remember I read about the Pareto principle. It was like the 90s. And so I decided to see how if it would work with regards to my business in terms of my sales and my cost. And to my amazement, it did. It worked out very well. 80% of my costs were from 80% of my financial costs were from 20% of my operations. 80% of my revenue were from 20% of my clients. It all worked out. It was quite interesting. So it does work. So hold on, I'm gonna see. How about for learning, in terms of learning programming? If so, what topics in a language like Java gives me the most output? Yeah, I always advise people, if you're learning how to code, you just want to stick to your basics and your fundamentals. That is the key. The key to learning how to code quickly, if your goal is to become an advanced developer quickly, then you want to concentrate on the fundamentals. So you can look at the 80-20 rule in that regard. I would say it's probably more like 10-90, but it's safe to say that 20% of Java makes up 80% of the work out there. It's probably more like 10% of Java makes up 90% of the work out there. So that follows. So what you got to figure out is that crucial 20%, right? That's the key to the Pareto principle. It's all about efficiencies that way. All right. So yeah, Pareto principles does apply to coding. There's no question. Do you think Django React is a good combination for full stack web dev? Greetings from California. If there are jobs, but yeah, maybe somebody. If Matthew would comment on that. I think he's doing Django stuff now. But yeah, if there's jobs in your area, why not? Hello, Danielle. How are you? From Brazil. Hello, Stefan. Hey guys, how are you? How many hours learning programming is most optimal? 3 to 4 hours a day is my recommended max. Minimum 20 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week. Be sure to give yourself 2 days off. Write code, break your code once you get it working. Those are some of my tips. That's what I'm going to be covering in my. Actually, do I have it available here? I have a PDF. But it's for my HTML Pro variant of the course. So let me just show you that while we're here. Why not? All right, so this is it, the HTML Pro. So let me get it in view. So yeah, I'm doing an update to my HTML5 course. It's just an update. I'm adding more content. It's the Pro version, if you will, for people who are looking to get jobs. So this relates to how to learn. All right. So let's see. Okay, so my Pro course has a bunch of quizzing, and multiple choice, and code challenges. So you got to do those. You got to engage with the content. If you passively sit and watch videos, it's not nearly as good as if you are to actually engage with the quizzing and coding. That's why in Studioweb, every single lesson has video and quizzing. It's very important. The quizzing is as important as the video lessons. Be sure to write the code in your code editor. So as you're learning to code, whether it be my course or anybody else's course, you got to write the code. The more code you write, the more quickly and the more easily, the quicker and more easily you're going to learn. That's for sure. You just got to engage with that code. First of all, don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's something I've seen with people. They're worried about making mistakes when they write code. Coding is a process that's filled with errors. So you gotta be comfortable with making mistakes, no big deal. That's one of my criticisms of the modern educational system, where if you fail one test, that's it. It has an impact in terms of your entire academic career, which makes no sense to me. So yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Here's another one. Break code, see what happens after you get it to work. So you figure out a piece of code, whether it be HTML or JavaScript or Python or Java or whatever, get it to work, and you go, fantastic. You give yourself a pat on the shoulder, and then what you do is you break the code, and then you look at the errors that it generates. Trust me, this little technique is going to really help you learn much more quickly. When you're doing video-based training, be sure to take notes. While you're even reading a book, take notes. Taking notes, the act of writing notes down is going to help a lot with your learning. You want to do a minimum of 20 minutes a day for about 45 days a week. Break time is also important so your brain has time to process the information. So 20 minutes a day minimum. Max, I would say, hardcore coding learning is 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, so for my courses, what I recommend, there's 2 basic ways to approach the courses. I have the single pass method and the 2-pass method. So the single path method is like the hardcore way. So you watch your videos, you take notes, you do the quizzing, you write out the code as you go. This is for the first time around. So that's the hardcore way. That's the quickest way to learning how to write the code. This applies to not just HTML5, any coding course. The 2-pass method this is where you do the whole course for the first time without writing the HTML code in your code editor. But you still take notes, still taking notes and doing all the video lessons and all the quizzing. So with Studioweb, you're still going to be writing code as you go, and etc. But you're not actually writing the code in a separate code editor. But when you complete this first pass, you go back, you start again, and you go back and you do the videos again, pausing the videos, writing the actual code in a code editor. Both methods work. The 2-pass method, this sort of gets you acquainted, breaks the ice with the code, and then you come back again, and then you can get your hands into coding. So here's my last tip. Whether it takes you 3 days or 3 weeks to complete, once you know and understand HTML5, put in any language you want there. Once you know, understand JavaScript, PHP, Java, Python, C#, everything except Ruby, you always understand it, and nobody will know or care how long it took you to get there. So let me say that again. Once you know and understand the language, you will always understand it, and nobody will know or care how long it took you to get there. So don't feel a pressure that you have to finish the course as quickly as somebody else you know. Doesn't matter if 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. As long as you just get there, you don't lose. There's Stef. You don't lose if you don't give up. That's the key. Business is like that as well. Anyway, I hope that's helpful. How we doing here? All right. How we doing here with time? 20 minutes already. How important is our online portfolio? It's very important. Very important, because it shows actual work you've done. I have a friend who says he doesn't have one, but for some reason he has a lot of job offers and clients in online jobs. I really envy him. Well, if he has a good track record, a good resume, and maybe he's got credentials, if you will, or a profile on a jobber site, maybe that's why. But it helps a lot, trust me, if you get a portfolio. Just build up to it. Find out what he did, copy him, build up. Hello from Trinidad. Hey, how you doing, man? James. I'm going through the complete web dev course before jumping into Python. Awesome content. I also completed LizWiz. That was great too. Hey, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy the course. It's fantastic. LizWiz is my Lizard Wizard course. Somebody started calling it LizWiz. I was wondering if I should focus on Android or web or do both. Any advice? Depends on which. I would try a little bit of both, see what you prefer, and then also look at the job market and make your decision on that, right? If you spread yourself too thin at first, it will take you that much longer to get anywhere. Now I managed to join your stream, always missed them. There you go. Well, welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. Are you going to do new courses in Sublime Text again or Visual Code? Seems like Visual Code is taking over these days. Neither, actually. You'll see what I'm going to do. But the code editor is irrelevant, right? As long as you know the code, whether you use Sublime or Visual Studio Code or Notepad++, doesn't matter. So use whatever code editor you want. It's not bound to any course. That's one of the lessons, actually, in my pro course where I say the code editor doesn't matter. The code editor doesn't matter. Yeah, here, see, I demo with Sublime Notepad++. Oh, well, hold on, let me just get that in view. Right here, I demo with Sublime Text or Notepad++, but you can use any free code editor to write HTML5 and do this course. And this applies to any language. So Visual Studio Code, BBEdit, Sublime Text, Notepad++, whatever one you want. Ultimately, the code editor is not relevant. It's like if I was teaching you how to drive a car, whatever car you use is not relevant as long as you learn how to drive, right? Hello from Iceland, how you doing? Is SQL and Tableau enough to get a job? I don't know. You'd have to be a DBA, database administrator, perhaps. Hey, Stefan, I'm a recent grad from Front-End Coding Bootcamp. Where is the best place to start job searching? Volunteer, internships. I have a hard time landing the first job. Well, what you got to do is you got to set up a demo site, your site, and then reach out and do 1 or 2 freebie jobs so that you have a real track record to show people. Do you have a preferred code editor? Not really. My mind would change over time. Depends on what I would want to do. If I'm writing Python, I might go with PyCharm. If I'm writing Java, I would use IntelliJ, et cetera, et cetera. So it depends. But they're all pretty good these days. It's largely a personal choice. Hey, Stefan, got any good project ideas for someone who's learning JavaScript for web development? I don't know. Build a shopping cart with JavaScript. How's that? Build a shopping cart with JavaScript. So the JavaScript is used to create the cart and store items. And then if you want to get really cool, then use a little AJAX, the XML HTTP object, request object, to store the shopping cart on the server. How's that? But you're going to need to write some backend code, either JavaScript Node or Django or PHP. I was wondering if I should learn PHP for backend. I already know Vue, React, and a little bit of Express. Should I go for Node route? Well, if you already know Node, or should I start learning PHP instead? Your PHP course interests me. Jobs play a role. But again, once you get comfortable with the fundamentals, dudes, you will be able to use pivot. You can go to PHP and Laravel or vanilla PHP, or you could go Node and JavaScript, or you could go Python Django. You'd be able to just jump around, Let the jobs dictate, but the more languages you learn, the better you get. Like, if you learn JavaScript and then you jump into Python, by learning Python, your JavaScript will get better. People follow a stream, we get the same similar questions all the time. Stefan, I remember from one of your videos that you majored in psychology. Yes, I did. How can I overcome information overload when learning a new topic in Java? Do I scan the textbook day before? How do I overcome information overload when learning a new topic in Java? Like I said, you take in what you can take in. I think maximum 3 to 4 hours a day. If you feel overloaded, take a day off. I remember back when I was in college 2,000 years ago, I remember I shot up my marks considerably by not trying to cram study, by just doing a little bit of reading and studying every day, like just 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes a day. And when I was I would take the public bus, so I just get on the public bus and I'd sit there and I'd read. It was a long bus ride, 30 minutes. I would just read and take notes there. So it was like nothing. So instead of listening to music, I would just take notes on the bus. And all of a sudden my marks went up because every day a little bit of exposure, every day a little exposure. I did that because I started learning how the brain works. So that works wonders. So try and do that. What's your view on data science, machine learning for future 4 or 5 years? Oh, it's going to be around for a long time. You'll be fine. Okay, I got that one. It's back now. Okay. Yeah, the stream is, I don't know, same. How do you deal with other people's negative opinions on difficulties of getting into coding industries full of people projecting self-doubt onto you? Well, ignore them, dude. You don't want to be around people who are going to try to drag you down. You want to be around people that support you, right? So just ignore them. Don't talk about the subject if they're good friends. If they ask you, say, man, I don't know. Some people just, if you're doing something and they're not, some people don't like that and they're going to attack you for it. It's just human nature. They want to equalize with you. And hang around. There's a group of people who, find people who have similar interests and hang around people who are not going to bring you down, you know? Hang out with people who are getting into coding, right? Why not? Same thing in business, by the way, people like that. When I first started my business, you have no idea how many people were like telling me, oh, you shouldn't do it, Stef, shouldn't do it, Stef, you know? So, you know, ignore them. There are people out there who will say, hey, that's cool, get into it, let's do it, hey, let's do it, you know? Hang around with those people. Oh, for sure, your editor doesn't matter, I was just curious. Oh, that's a good question. Answer my questions, laugh aloud. 20 years to start coding, not even, no, you're still quite young. Does it matter what OS you use? No, it does not. Unless you want to, let's say, do like Swift iOS programming, then you need Mac, right? Or if you want to do .NET, you're probably better off. I think you can only use Windows. You might be able to use other platforms, but you're probably better off in Windows. So as a general rule, no, it doesn't matter, but you may need to use one or the other depending on the particular platform. Hello from Colombia. How do you put experience in your resume when under heavy NDA, can't disclose client, technologies, or result? So just don't disclose the client and don't give any details about the specifics of the project. You know what I mean? And, you know, if you're under, and ask them, you know, but I think if you just mention the broad terms, what kind of work you did, and in a very vague way, don't mention the client name, don't get into the specifics of the project, but mention the technologies you worked with, and just say, due to NDA, I can't reveal the specifics, and that shows credibility on your part. And I think you should be good there, but make sure you don't mention the client name, don't mention the project, don't talk about the specifics of the project, but you can say, like, we developed Java-based applications using X, Y, and Z sub-technologies, and the challenges were X, Y, and Z, but be vague about it. I think you'll be on legal ground that's fairly safe there. You may want to consult a lawyer. I don't know the laws in your country and so forth, but how's that sound? Would I get the same salary as a remote US engineer as a remote Indian engineer? I don't know. I think that would come down to your communication skills at the end of the day. Late to the party, but hello, hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Thanks for showing up, dudes. Do you think McGregor's career is finished? Favorite fighter in this era? Do I think his career is finished? I don't know. He'll probably be able to eke out another fight or two, but if he doesn't win, people are not going to want to see him anymore, right? So he better win his next fight. That's for sure. But he's a big draw because, you know, he's very entertaining, you know. Yeah. Hello, Al Pacino. Al Pacino. Oh, yeah. When you are a 51-year-old woman, well, I think you can do it. I think they're looking for women in technology, so that gives you an advantage. They want to sort of fill that role. If you have a background and professional background in some other field, perhaps you can blend the two. Worst case, you can get into it from a freelancing point of view, but there's opportunities for you. I think so. I'm not going to lie, it would be easier if you were a 22-year-old punk, but you know what I mean. Hi from Sweden, Stef. Have you heard about the concept of full stack designer? Full stack designer. It's about being generalist in graphic design, UX design, video, web dev. What do you think about this? Okay, so that's a new terminology for an old thing. Yeah, the best, to find really good UX, UI people, as I've said many times, is hard. If you're really good at that, though, it's valued by medium and large companies. Small businesses are not, typically anyway, they don't understand how important UX, UI guys are if they're really good. So yeah, I've never heard that particular term, but yeah, it's definitely a viable profession. What is your recommended study? What is your recommended for roadmap study for web developer? Take my Studioweb courses, dude. That will set the foundation. You'll be ready to go. Just look up Studioweb on Google, Studioweb Montreal, and you see all the reviews, and you can decide whether or not it makes sense for you. How are we doing for time? All right, so we'll be wrapping this up in half an hour already. Wow. Stef, I'm getting a degree in IT management and a good certification UX design. Hopefully by June. Good. June, July. What type of job would you recommend I look into if I have basic coding skills? And a Google certification UX design, both. I don't know. I would start job searching now. Start seeing what they're looking for in terms of skill sets at various employers. Start looking around, see what type of company you would like to work for, and see, you have to explore that. I don't have an answer off the top of my head. There we go, Jared. I only have experience freelancing solo for clients and no experience working with teams or with other developers. Is it worth taking a year or two to work on as a dev with a firm team just for experience? I don't know if that appeals to you. If you want to do that, there's a lot of social ramifications when you're working with other people. You could try it out. Try it out for a few months, see if you like it. A lot of times, your choices in the development, it has a lot to do with, with your personal taste, Do you follow boxers today? Check out Errol Spence Jr., great fundamentals boxer. I'll take a look. I haven't followed boxing much. I think after Mayweather retired, not that I was a huge fan, but I think that was kind of the era where I kind of backed off. Canelo is fun to watch. He's very good. Who's the most? I don't know. I think that in all honesty, the only UFC fighter I can think of now that's still fighting is McGregor. I was much more into it when JSP was around, and that whole era. JSP. I forget the other guy's name all of a sudden. Yeah, I don't follow it too much these days, but I like boxing. You know what it is? I used to love watching HBO boxing, and since HBO stopped, it's kind of like, Does freelancing have better earning potential than being an employee? That's a good question. I don't know what the data is on that. You can make a lot of money as a freelancer. The big advantage of a freelancing career is that you have freedom, you have choice. That's the major advantage. And you also have a lot of money you can make with that as well. I've talked about that in previous streams. Your advices are always working for me. Thank you for the great content you're making. I'm glad I could help. Sapphire, thanks for letting me know. Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Yeah, see, Mayweather was quite strategic there. He waited for Pacquiao to get beat. He waited for him to slow down just a little bit so he would get in with him. So Mayweather is very tactically very good at what he does. Good morning from Stockholm. Hey, thanks for joining the stream. Good evening from Montreal. Does career paths, web design, and UI UX go hand in hand? Is it okay to shift between the two? Well, web design is kind of like a generalist old school term of front-end designer, if you will. UI UX is kind of more specialized, I would think. When I hear UI UX professional, I'm thinking about somebody who works on a team, works with other developers, back-end, full-stack people, and they're developing applications. When I hear web design, web designer, it's more of a generalist They'll do UX, UI, but they're more or less putting up websites, maybe doing small business projects, that kind of thing. There's crossover there. Thank you, Stefan, for your help. It feels like you are my mentor online. When is the next live stream? I don't know. I wasn't planning on doing one tonight. I just felt like it. I have a bunch of content that I'm putting out, canned content, so my live streams are going to slow down. Maybe I'll do one on Friday, something like that. I'll give it advance notice, though, on the message board this time. Hey, Christy, how are you? Snap, I made it on Hawaii time, and I understand OOP with Python. I am now down with OOP. Hey, congratulations. Good stuff. That's good. So you finally got it good. Yeah, it clicks. You just keep working at it, and then it just eventually clicks. When you're learning new concepts, the brains just have to adapt to it a little bit. You got to give it some time and some exposure. I'm a junior in college right now, and I'm emphasizing in cybersecurity. What are some things I should be looking to get into to get the most experience for the future? Well, as soon as you can start working, if you can find stagiaire work working on cybersecurity issues, that would be your best choice. Nothing beats real-world experience, no matter what the field is. Hello from KSA. Hold on. Hello. Let me click on that again. I am new to web development world, but I don't know how to start. Is it better to learn from books or take courses? Well, madam, I'm very biased. I would suggest you look at the link below. Try my Studioweb courses if you want to learn quickly. Read the reviews. Just go to Studioweb. Just go to Google, type in Studioweb Montreal or Studioweb, and you'll find my business listing. You'll see all the reviews from people, and you can decide if you want to take those courses. What's your preferred coffee? Are you drinking any right now? No, I'm not drinking coffee right now. My preferred is probably hazelnut coffee. I just take it black. What is refactoring and what is only modifying code? And what is refactoring and what is only modifying code? Refactoring has a specific implication. Refactoring is modifying code, but refactoring is optimizing and cleaning up code so that it's easier to maintain, it's simpler, maybe it's a little bit more efficient. So there you go. Laravel versus Symfony versus CodeIgniter in terms of learning curve. Oh, I haven't looked at Symfony. CodeIgniter I wouldn't touch. It's I would look at either Laravel or Symfony, and I couldn't say which one is easier. But overall, I would suggest just doing Laravel because it's such a great framework. Hello from Cambridge. Welcome. Thanks for the stream, man. Thanks for showing up. Cambridge. Wow. With pure PHP do the job? Will pure PHP do the job without frameworks? Yeah, for simple stuff, you can do simple PHP, but anything any complex system, I would be using a framework. Save yourself a lot of headache and time in the end. Hey, Stefan, I'm 44 and signed up to all your courses. Well, thanks. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. I am planning on starting freelancing this year and combine my 20 plus years of business experience with programming. Thank you. Nice H1s there, buddy. That's good. That's exactly it. That's the way to do it. Congrats, man. Good plan. Take his courses. He's a great teacher. I appreciate that. Are you sad that Christmas has ended? Christmas, well, it ended a couple months ago. How to balance time and be fit as a developer? Yeah, I say do a little bit. That's true. I do have my book. Yeah, if you go to Amazon, type in my name, you can find my book if you're a beginner. It's getting a lot. I think it's almost universal 5-star reviews. So I wrote it a few years back, but it's evergreen. Everything in there is 100% relevant. Yeah, so how to balance time and be fit as a developer. We'll get back to that one. You got to what I suggest, you integrate habits of health in your daily activity. What I would suggest is that I'm just saluting hologram here. Hologram nunchuck. Yeah, you want to integrate what you call it, habits of health in your daily activity. Walk every day. Every once an hour, go do a few push-ups, just do a little stretching every day. 5 minutes in the morning, stretch out a little bit your legs and stuff. You start integrating. So every day is just, as you go about your day, you're doing healthy things, But it's a lot more about diet. Drink a lot of water, reduce your sugar intake. Yeah, so this is the official salute. This is the nerd salute from Star Trek. Would you suggest having... Oh, let me just put this on screen. Would you suggest having a fallback for a jQuery CDN, or should just keep jQuery locally and forget the CDN? Well, if the CDN is solid, then why not use the CDN? I don't know. jQuery is a pretty small file to begin with. You might want to have a local copy just in case you're reliant. You don't want them to upgrade. I was just going to say you don't want them to upgrade and break your implementation. I hear jQuery is making a comeback now. You look sad. Are you okay? I always look sad. It's because I'm tired. What's the name of your book, Stef? It's in North America, I think it's called Web Design Start Here, or Build Your Website Now. Hold on. Let's see if I have a copy. Wait a second. There it is. Over here. Always professional feed. So my book on web design is this one right here. Web Design Start Here. You can find this on Amazon. Will this focus? I doubt it. No. Yeah, it's because it set the focus only on the faces. So Web Design Start Here, good beginner's book. You can get it on Amazon. If you want to up your game, again, links are below this video. I would suggest this book. This is the Java version, and there's also a link to a JavaScript version of this book. This is going to up your coding game in a big way. This is the one I would recommend. Refactoring. So there you go. South Africa. Exactly. Just search my name. Stefan Mischook. I'm the only one in the world. Any resources you can suggest on developing? You mean learning how to code? Check out Studioweb.com. Studioweb.com. Do you recommend for a first job, enter any job that takes you, or wait to find a good job where you can learn and improve your skills? Well, if it's your first job, any job that's your first job, it's gonna help you learn and improve your skills. That's for sure. Problem-solving skills. Well, it's. I have to think about that. What cam? Really nice. Well, if you look below, you'll find a link to my equipment. I get that question all the time. It's a cinema camera. Ain't cheap. Agree. Sugar is very addictive substance. If you get a chance, watch the Sugar film free on YouTube. Yeah. The big part of just being healthier is just eating better and avoiding any sugars or foods that turn into sugar, like breads and cakes and carbs. If you do that, you're going to feel much better within a week or two. Is there a Python version for a refactoring book? Not by this author, who's very well known, but it transfers 100%. Get the JavaScript one, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. There might be a refactoring book on Python, I don't know. But if you just get the JavaScript one, it will 100% work for you. Did you make a second book? No, I've been asked, and I just prefer to produce my own material. Writing a book, you have to conform to printing standards. It's a real pain. So, thanks, Stef. By the way, you look like a mafia boss. I get that all the time, Your take on remote jobs and project-based contracts. Well, why not? There's a lot more of that now since COVID, Hey, Pokeyman, how are you? Hello, Stef from Montreal. Stefan from Montreal. So cold outside tonight here. It is. It is. Yeah. How are we doing here? All right. Can you enjoy and be a good web development while hating math? Are they connected at all? No, math is not used very much in web development at all, so I wouldn't be worried about that. The only time math comes into it, any advanced math, is when you get into maybe AI coding, maybe game engine design, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to web development, it's add, subtract, the occasional multiplication, so I wouldn't worry about it. Hello, Soul Rebel, how are you? Thanks for joining the stream. Lucky Luciano, I remember somebody's face. What exactly do you do every day at a web dev job? Depends where you work, man. Depends where you work. It could be all kinds of different things, you know. The smaller the company that you work for, the more diverse the type of work you're going to be doing. Oh, by the way, if you like this stream, hit that thumbs up because the Google algorithm likes to see thumbs up. So if you can do that, or write comments under the video, I would appreciate that as well. But definitely hit the thumbs up if you want to promote this stream. What should I learn first? Refactoring and design pattern or algorithms, data structures? Refactoring and design patterns, 100%. I tried reaching out to a local pizza shop to build a free website for them. They never responded. Well, yeah, COVID time. But one shop is just one shop, dude. You know, like if you get a like 2% or 3% close rate, that's average. That's good. So hit 100. Just hit 100. You know, somebody actually put out a good tactic. I was hearing this. You want to get used to being rejected. Rejection is no big deal. And so somebody, I forget where I heard this, but somebody said this. I think it was a good little tactic. When you go get a coffee at a coffee shop, for example, say to the coffee clerk, say, will you give me 20% off this coffee? And they're going to say, well, no. So you've just been rejected. And what happens, you're training your lizard brain to manage rejection, and it becomes nothing after a while. It will help with their dating life as well. Don't take it serious. Like when you're dating, if she's not into you or he's not into you, whatever, you know, okay, it could be just a bad day. So yeah, you want to practice being rejected. I used to make a game out of that. When I was like 18 or 17, I was in college, and so were a bunch of young college kids, and with the usual fears. So I said, you know, what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a game. The game was, who can get rejected the best? So what would happen was like 6 or 7 of us guys, and we see a girl, and we each go up to different girls, and we go up to them and try to get rejected. And all our friends were watching. And the quicker the girl would reject us, the funnier it was. It became like I'm starting to laugh thinking about it. But what happened though is that we started being ridiculous, and we go up to girls walking stupid and making stupid comments, but all of a sudden we started not getting rejected all the time. But what happens, you just lose this fear of rejection. So yeah, just start getting rejected at coffee shops. Hey, give me 20% off this coffee. Can I have this cake for half price? And they're going to say no, and you're being rejected. And then what happens, you're creating a positive association with being rejected. Little wizard training tip there. It works. Were you southpaw or orthodox? Orthodox. That's boxing. If I try to learn different platforms and programming language, is it good or not? After you have your basics, yeah, for sure. After you have your basics, for sure. Does your freelance course target only web development, or does it apply to all types of development? It applies to all types of development and just freelancing in general, with the templates, the contract templates, the time tracking templates. It's universal. How do you publish a book? What are the steps? Well, I get approached by publishing companies because I have a presence online long before YouTube. I had it with killersites.com and killerphp.com and other sites. I have, you know, even those sites I haven't worked on in a long time, but those sites would get, 2 million page views a month or more at times. So I would be approached by book publishers all the time. And I could get, so that's how I did it. So what they look for now is if you have a presence. If you have a presence, you have an audience, they're much more likely to want to sign a deal with you, right? Because then you could sell the book. So that's how that works. But you might want to just self-publish, right? Ever been to Odessa, Ukraine? No, I have not. No, I have not. No, I have not. One day I got to get to Ukraine. My family is originally from Kiev, so I should get there. PWA versus hybrid apps like Flutter. Why should I use one over the other? Oof. I guess it depends on the project, right? Depends on the requirements of the project, and then I would make that choice accordingly. I don't know enough about Flutter to give any definitive answers in that regard. But I'm about to do a piece on Flutter, though. I just haven't prepped for it. Hello, Stef. I just started my path into Python studies. Congratulations. And I've already hit a snag into my learning. That's normal. Whatever, you just work through it. How do you persevere even if the task is hard? Number one, if something is hard, it's worth money, right? If something is hard, it's worth money. So that should motivate you. This is hard. Most people are just going to cry and go play video games. If you stick to it, and once you beat it, like Christy, she was having trouble just a few days ago trying to understand object-oriented Python programming. Now she just said that she understands it now. She just had to be persistent. So keep that in mind, first of all. If it's hard, it's worth money, so it's worth doing. And number two, just do that 20 minutes a day, as I suggest. Do that 20 minutes a day. Frequency of exposure is the key to learning. That's what my Lizard Wizard course is all about. You should check it out, links below. It will teach you how to learn quicker because you can understand how your brain works. So don't give up. Don't give up. Steph, I just started. Okay, I just read that one. Steph, I'm now learning Vue. I want to learn some React later. What's the difference between these two and also Angular? I would let the jobs dictate that. I wouldn't necessarily want to learn all three unless you had work accordingly. I look at these frameworks, Vue, React, Angular, as need-to-nerd technologies. If you find there's a need for it in a project you're doing or there's a job requirement, then learn it then. But don't spend too much time trying to learn all these different frameworks. It's almost, you'll be unlimited stuck in tutorial hell, in learning hell. You just want to get out there and start coding in the real world. You'll learn much more by actually coding in the real world. So look at the job opportunities. So you're learning Vue now, stick to Vue. And once you get just familiar with Vue, do a little mini project in Vue for yourself and start looking for jobs. Because you're going to learn much more about building real things. I doubt hybrid solutions will replace native development, but will it? I think over time, native development is going to diminish. I don't think it will ever disappear. But hybrid is going to become more and more prominent. I've talked about this many times because hardware is getting faster. The hybrid solutions are getting more optimized, they're more capable. Coming from a Python background, how do you suggest I approach learning JavaScript? Any tips regarding that language? No, just do the basics. Just check out my JavaScript course. Just take it. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Just go through the basics, learn it, learn the syntax. You should be able to learn it in very, very short order. You'll find certain things about JavaScript you won't like, I'm sure, especially because Python has got a much more human-like syntax or a human language syntax, where JavaScript comes from the C family. But yeah, just do the basics. See how Python handles variable types and collection types, how it handles arrays, how it handles functions, how it handles OO, object-oriented programming, etc. And you'll be fine. Every no brings you closer to a yes. Exactly. You're eliminating possibilities. Waste of time. Do you think software web dev is the future-proof career? Yeah, I think so for the next 25, 30 years. Where's your drum set? Sadly, when I moved to this place, I decided to get rid of my drum set. I've had that drum set for a long time. Part of me regrets getting rid of it. But I'm in a building here where I don't think the other owners would appreciate me playing drums. Let's just say it that way. I'm learning JavaScript now. What should I do next? Well, finish your JavaScript. I assume you know your HTML and your CSS. I would decide on what type of job you want to do. That's one of the things I'm doing with my pro version of my courses, which will be out very soon. It's just I'm building off the foundation core, and I'm going to be in the pro version. I'll be covering like what are the job opportunities with JavaScript. What are the different frameworks you might want to look at in JavaScript? Let's look at some of the jobs out there. Where does JavaScript fit in the programming development world? This is what I would look into, so you can figure out what your career is going to be. Try not to bind your career expectation based on a language or a framework. You want to go beyond that, because in real world development, as you become a pro developer, you will guaranteed be using multiple languages and technologies over time. What do you use to host your websites? What do you recommend? I use DigitalOcean for some of my stuff, and I use a local VPS solution provider in Canada, Montreal, because they got a hybrid solution that I use for other aspects. So it depends what I'm doing. For most sites, though, you can just use simple hosting. Studioweb though has some sophistication, so it requires a more sophisticated implementation in terms of hosting. So like my VPS takes care of all the backups and all the restores, all the patching. It can scale vertically, horizontally very easily. It's really nice, so that's why I use that. But most sites don't need that. New course, Lizard Wizard Pickup Guide. Well, I actually have, in my Lizard Wizard course, I actually have Lizard Dating Tips, the Lizard Dating Tips, which is pretty good. So how are we doing for the stream? All right. Just checking out stuff. What do you consider a current tech fad? Ooh. I don't know. I think AI was the fad. I'm not saying AI is not going anywhere. It's going to be, but it really, I think now that bubble is kind of slowly deflating as people work in their AI. A few years ago, it was blockchain, big fad. I remember I didn't disrespect blockchain. I just said if it's not everybody is going to be using blockchain. It's very specialized tech. It's good. I like blockchain, but it's just very, very specialized, So I don't know. I think the fad. I think AI ML. It's still viable. It's huge. It's important, but it kind of grew a little bit. You get the hype cycles, right? What other careers did you consider? Well, when I was quite young, I wanted to become a professional fighter, but then I got sick and I couldn't do that. Then I was looking at being a psychologist. That's why I took a major in psychology. But then I realized I didn't want to hear people complain about their problems. Then I just started doing business. Business has been all I've been doing, Java or Python learn first. I would do Python. It's just easier to approach. Both good languages. So then, what is the hardest, most valuable thing out? What is the hardest, most valuable thing out there? You got to check out the job markets if you're looking to work. You got to check it out. See, it depends where you are. But I think, again, when it comes to software development, whether you do WebStack, PHP, or WebStack Python, or you end up doing backend, or you end up doing UI UX, data science, ML. It all kind of evens out when you hit the 3 to 4 year mark in terms of experience. The ML guy will be making $139,000 on average, and the web dev person might be making $129,000. In the grand scheme of things, it makes no difference because with the taxes and everything. So you can't go wrong. You'll be fine. What are your other passions? What other careers did you consider? Well, I told you, I used to love martial arts. I did it for 30 years. I loved it. I loved to fight. I loved to learn that stuff. It was fantastic for me. But that's off. I like what I'm doing now. I do this because it's fun. I'm at 11 o'clock at night, and I'm live streaming because it's fun. I like videography. I like the fact that I even make myself look half decent on camera now. You look at some of my older videos, I was like all green in some of them, or some might look like I was 800 years old because I didn't know what I was doing. So kind of fun to make this thing. Best platforms to make money on project-based contracts. There's a huge amount of availability in terms of PHP, believe it or not. PHP, WordPress, in terms of freelance. But, you know, if you get into the game, there's a lot of money in different areas. David, hey dude, greetings from LA. Thanks for joining the stream. I work as a dev and enjoy listening to you while I work. Wow, thanks for, I appreciate you letting me know. Thanks for watching the stream. Yeah, I have to do it again. For the algorithm, I found out the algorithm. You got to give me some thumbs up, guys. I'd appreciate that. All right. Pendelis Lagos. Hello, Stefan. Nice to see your lives. Thanks for joining them. I want to ask you, I finished lesson with fundamentals in JavaScript. I made a decision. I want to learn Python. Do you think that's wrong? Maybe any frame in JS? No, it's good. I say there's a reason why I have 3 languages in my code courses, because I think that by learning the second language and the third language, it will give you deeper knowledge of the previous 2 languages. So you've learned JavaScript. By learning Python, it will help you with your JavaScript, by the way. And then by learning Java or PHP or whatever other third language, it will help you with the previous 2. And then you can kind of decide what kind of programming you want to do. I chose JavaScript, Python, PHP in my courses because they're kind of different use cases. So there's overlap always, but that's why I did it. I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. It helps with the streams. Thanks, Stefan. You look like one of my professors. Ha ha ha. Like your channel, helped me a lot. I'm glad I could help. Thank you, Steph. JavaScript looks scary, but I will start with the basics as you suggested. Yeah, do the basics. Take your time. Follow my training rules. Hello from Thailand. I like Thailand. I visited Thailand, must be 10 years ago. I went to Bangkok, then down to Phuket, Krabi. Good times, good food, great people. Love Thailand. Good. I got to go back. Yeah, I've been thinking about that, getting electric drums, playing with headphones. But I have to see. When I tried electric drums like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I didn't like the feel. I like. There's a lot of subtlety in the stick work, right? When you're hitting, what do we call them? Acoustic drums, we'll guess. You know, whether it be the ride, the hi-hat, and the toms, and the snare, you know, rims, you know. I like to, I don't know if you can do that with electric. I would have to check that out. Electric drum set, maybe gotta keep that pocket solid, yeah? Yeah, that's it. You lose the timing if you don't do it. Same thing with fighting, by the way. You know, if you don't fight on a regular basis, your timing goes away. What psychological books you read and authors that serve as reference for your Lizard Wizard course? Good question. Robert Cialdini, I first read him back in the 90s when he first published his very seminal book called Influence. Kahneman, Thinking Fast, Slow is another one. A guy named Crimmins. And there's several other authors, the classics, of course. Skinner, B.F. Skinner, Operant Conditioning. Pavlov, it's kind of simple stuff. And there's others, you know, a lot of stuff I actually got from martial arts, believe it or not. Martial arts and meditative practices, Taoist meditations, Zazen, et cetera, et cetera. So I sort of combine all these different things. Hey, love your channel. Well, thanks. I'm glad. Thanks for joining the channel. I appreciate that. Well, joining your stream, rather. Right, we'll help FedExD, and then I'm going to end off the stream. I need help. I want to be a programmer, but I not have an objective. I not know what to learn. What can I do? I would suggest that you do my Studioweb courses, link below. Just do the web stack stuff, and that will give you a lay of the land, and you will understand the whole programming world. and then you'll be able to make your own decisions. If you prefer to read, this is the first venture into coding. Not so much programming, but coding. Check out my book on Amazon. Yeah. And there you go. So, you stream on Twitch at all? No Twitch streaming. I have barely time to stream elsewhere. I'm learning Gatsby. Very cool. Hello. Thanks for joining the stream. Do you offer a coupon code for your Lizard Wizard? Yeah, I'll offer a code. When people ask, what you do is email me, Stefan at Studioweb, Stefan at Studioweb. Say coupon code for Lizard Wizard. Put that in the subject, all caps. Anybody on the stream, I'll send you a nice coupon so you can get the course. It's a fun course. Stef, my good sir, are dope. I appreciate that. Thanks for joining the stream. Let's see. I want to learn PHP, but I was always held back by bad things people say about it. What are some strong points of it aside from great job opportunity? It's a very mature language, PHP is. It's very mature. The package manager is very clean. It runs very fast. It's very efficient code. It runs circles in terms of runtime speed. It runs circles around Python. I'm not sure about JavaScript. It's at least as fast. It's very stable. Modern PHP is secure. All the old problems with PHP, the bad reputations from PHP from 10, 15 years ago, it is not the same at all now. So, and of course, at the end of the day, dude, jobs are, you know, it's a big part of this, right? ActionScript may be the best language since sliced bread, but nobody uses it, so who cares? So jobs are relevant. Super chat, and I appreciate that. Thanks. Thanks for the advices you share with us. They are really great and helpful. Greetings from Mexico. No problem. I appreciate you letting me know. Oh my God, super chat. Thank you. Oh yeah, super chat, $10. Hey, thanks, man. The wizard is live again. Dennis Ivy. Thank you for the coffees. I'm going to have 2 coffees because of Dennis tomorrow. I appreciate that. Do you like Bruce Lee movies? Oh my God, I used to love Bruce Lee movies. The ones he made in Hong Kong, where they you get the translations. The translations are so funny and his martial arts are amazing, right? He moves so well, but the translations are so funny. And we used to laugh at the bad dubbing, you know. So yeah, Enter the Dragon, a fun movie, great movie. Yeah, I love Bruce Lee films. You can see them on Netflix now. You can see a few of them, or there's a couple. I would recommend them. Yeah. How did you build nice communication skills? Well, you learn psychology, how people think, what motivates people, what people react to. Then you practice. A lot of it is listening. Communication skills, a lot of it is listening. Cool, Dennis. I've done a few of your HTML courses. Cool. Blind Fist of Bruce Lee is, Fist of Fury. Blind Fist? You mean Fist of Fury, right? Yeah, Fist of Fury is very cool. Is that true that web app made with PHP is less secure than one made with Java? No, it is not true. It's not true. How secure it is depends on how well you write the code. Modern PHP is very, very good. I'm graduating in June. That's good. Early congratulations on that. When should I start applying for jobs? Now. Start now. Start now. Start working on your resume now. And say, listen, I'll be available in June. You want to do an intern? Start now. Why wait? You know? What else do we have here? Any other questions before I let you guys go? I'm getting really tired here. It's almost 11, so it's getting 11:30. So I just finished C++, but now I'm thinking I'm making with app. I also want to earn money along the way and have fun. Any advice? Yeah, jump into higher level languages. C++ is more job-oriented languages. So if you want to freelance, make money quickly and easily, get into the web stack. Front end, of course, is HTML5, CSS3. JavaScript back end would be, you could use Python, you could use PHP, you can use JavaScript as well. In this pandemic, should one switch or keep your current job? Well, depends if you have another job lined up or not and how secure it is. How often do you fist of fury your keyboard, Stef? Not too much these days, not too much. I don't want to break them anymore. Yeah, I understand. SCSS or CSS or JS? What, in terms of learning something new? JS. Do you prefer PHP or Python for web dev? Personally, I prefer PHP. Have you seen Cobra Kai? I've seen part of it. I've seen some of it. Rest well, Sam. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for answering our questions, Stef. Hey, no problem. I love doing the streams. That's why I'm here. Thanks again for joining them. If you like this type of stream, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to be signing off now. I've been on for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I got to go drink some water. And yeah. So there you go. So I'll end off with my ASMR, Cape Elizabeth, Maine ASMR boat video. If you're stressed out, watch this video for about a minute or two. It will calm you right down. Thanks for joining the stream, and we shall talk soon.